to what was in the last recording. I'm going to start up here, 2,000 years of power. That's the subheading we're looking at. And I'm on to the next page down here where it talks about the early dynasties. The early dynasties of the Middle Kingdom restored order and reunited the country. With calmer times, the pharaohs spent the nation's wealth on works such as irrigation projects instead of on wars. They also built a canal between the Nile and the Red Sea. To show you what that is on the map, they built a canal between the Nile and the Red Sea. Egypt grew even richer. However, less able rulers followed. In time, they lost control of the country to foreign invaders. Egyptian princes became strong enough to drive out the foreign invaders around 1550 BC or 1550 BC. This event marks the start of the New Kingdom. The first pharaohs of the New Kingdom were not content just to drive foreigners out of their country. They wanted to build an empire. The pharaohs created huge armies of foot soldiers, mounted warriors, and war chariots. Bronze swords and body armor made the Egyptians nearly unbeatable. The next subheading: a powerful queen, a great pharaoh. Around 1500 BC, a child named Thutmose III became pharaoh. Because of his youth, his stepmother was appointed regent, which I think is one of our vocabulary words for government in Egypt. Well, it looks like we have a definition here. A regent is someone who rules for a child until the child is old enough to rule. So, for example, if I died and my son became the pharaoh, my son is only 6 years old. Right now, he wouldn't be able to rule a country, so a regent, someone else, would be named to help that child rule and to rule while that person is too young. His stepmother, so Thutmose's stepmother, was Hatshepsut, whom you read about at the beginning of this section. Not content to be regent, so just in charge until the child became old enough, Hatshepsut had herself proclaimed pharaoh. She ruled Egypt for about 22 years. Hatshepsut's reign, or the time in which she was the ruler, the pharaoh, was good for Egypt. She apparently enjoyed her power too. When Thutmose grew up, she refused to yield the throne to him. He took over when she died and had all her statues destroyed. We don't know if Thutmose had a hand in Hatshepsut's death. Thutmose III was one of the greatest pharaohs of the New Kingdom. He led his army in wars against Syria and Phoenicia in southwest Asia. Egyptian troops advanced as far east as the Euphrates River and south into Nubia. Yet Thutmose was more than a conqueror. He was an educated man who loved to study plants. Unlike most rulers of his time, he treated defeated peoples with mercy. So in other words, he treated the people in the areas that he took over, the people he had defeated, he treated them at least somewhat kindly. Here is a caption for this beautiful picture here. Queen Hatshepsut's temple at the foot of a dramatic limestone cliff down here below the cliff. Deir al-Bahari, Egypt, is one of the masterpieces of New Kingdom architecture. You'll be learning about architecture next week. Cleopatra. Cleopatra, a woman of ambition. Cleopatra ruled Egypt from 51 BC to 30 BC. The Egyptian carving on the right here, shows Cleopatra and Isis, a popular Egyptian goddess. Cleopatra, however, was not content to be queen of just Egypt. She wanted to rule the Roman Empire, and she almost succeeded. Cleopatra gained so much influence in Rome that her likeness appeared on Roman coins below. Here's Cleopatra on a Roman coin. The New Kingdom began to decline around 1075 BC, or the year 1075 BC. Civil war left Egypt weak and poorly defended. The mighty kingdom fell to the famous conqueror Alexander the Great in 332 BC. About 300 years later, so around the year 32 BC, Egypt was conquered. And if you look back at the text, 32 BC was about the time that Cleopatra was ending her reign as the pharaoh, or as the ruler of Egypt. So about 300 years later, around the year 30 or 32 BC, Egypt was conquered by another powerful civilization of the ancient world, the Romans. So the same people that had put Cleopatra on a coin, the Romans, the Roman Empire, conquered Egypt. Egypt became part of the Roman Empire. It would not govern itself again for almost 2,000 years. The country we know today. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the reading of the text.